See, in this video I want to show you how to program some interactions in Slack using Praxis Builder, and how you can do it live and get immediate feedback and watch everything you do happen in Slack as you're doing the programming with Praxis Builder. So let's see, I'll open Incentive Starter, which is just some starter methods that we have to show you how to do some of these things. In this case, we're building a modal with two fields and then showing it to the user, and you can see that we can set breakpoints inside the code here, and these breakpoints will get hit after the user submission, either if they fill in the form and submit or if they press the cancel key. So this is all pretty standard Slack, directly from the Slack API. It's the blocks, and so we're constructing the blocks and then submitting the view to Slack. So on the Slack side, the way that we can get this, there's a bunch of different ways to start interactions, and one of them is just with commands, and we give you a command that can select a method and a template to start and debug it. So in this case, we have Incentive Starter, which is our template. The template is the sort of the packaging term that we use, and then inside a template is one or more methods, and these can also be called reducers or effects. So in this case, we just want to start this interact method to watch what happens, and we have a command for doing that. It's just the debug command you see here, but we also have it's a very sophisticated shortcut builder, so that it's pretty general. It's not just for Praxis, but in our case, instead of having to type this debug command over and over, we just kind of rename it test B. And so that's what we'll do here, is to start it. So the ampersand cues, that tells it that it's the next follows as a shortcut. So test B is the command that will start this interaction. So that's the form, and the code went through and it built a couple blocks here, came through, and then it did the submission. So it's waiting right here, right now, in this reply modal. And if I were to cancel, you'll see that this breakpoint will get hit here. So yeah, and on the right, when a breakpoint is hit, you can view all the variables in the code, to see if you're doing everything correctly. Here we can see the blocks that we create for Slack, that were created here, and it has a lot of information in here on the state that when one of these methods is complete, you can return a new state. So in this case, I'm just going to continue, and it just ends, and we can see here we're just, this $state variable has the initial state. In this case, we're not doing anything with the state, we're just returning it as is. So that's easy. That's why you see everything empty over here. But now let me do the same thing, and I'll fill in the form this time for the modal. So see, a contract key is just a field that you'll see pretty often when you start. If you're using smart contracts, which isn't required, you can just do lots of things without smart contracts, but it's very sophisticated smart contract language that you can use for if you need to put things on the blockchain. So in this case I'll just put anything here, but and the ledger is the address that you have on the Praxis side when you the first thing that you do is attach a ledger to Slack, and then you really don't have to, if you're not doing any programming, you don't have to interact with our web app very much, only to sign things. Everything else is done completely in Slack. So I'll just copy my address here, and if I submit, you can see that this breakpoint gets hit, which is the one where the user actually did the submission. And if we look over on the right, we can see I extracted the variables here with some helper functions that we have, and you can see that we have the data there. So after you collect data, you would do something with it. In some cases, you might be starting a smart contract or interacting with an existing smart contract, but it could also, like I said, it can just be very general things. It doesn't have to have anything to do with the smart contract. You can write all kinds of bots and applications with Praxis Builder. See, in the next video, I'll show you how to do a button interaction, how that works with our tool. So let me just end this.